Hey, welcome to the AL.com film room. I'm Matt Scalici here with Cubelic, our Auburn football analyst. We're going to be taking a look at some plays from Auburn's win over Kansas State last Thursday night. Cole, a lot to talk about from this game. I think we want to start off with offense today. You know, Auburn was obviously able to find some plays that worked in this game, but kind of their bread and butter, you know, that ground and pound offense wasn't always as successful against Kansas State as we've seen it at times for this Auburn team.
No, I think, Matt, when you look at the zone read play, which Auburn has had so much success with since the end of the LSU game a year ago, they've run it over 40% of the time. That's been their base run play. And I think Nick Marshall has averaged 7.1 yards per play on the zone read that he keeps going into the Kansas State game. Kansas State did a nice job. They had a nice scheme put in where they just replaced the end man on the line of scrimmage. It could have been an outside linebacker over a slot receiver, safety from the backfield, or an inside linebacker scraping over the top. And they just slanted the end man on the line of scrimmage, collapsed him down to play the inside run, and that sort of forced Nick Marshall to make the incorrect read. So what happens is when he reads that end man on the line of scrimmage and sees him crash down, he's going to pull that handoff and feel like he should have room to run outside the tackle box. And with the new man on the end line of scrimmage, be it a safety, a linebacker over the top, or a linebacker or defensive back in the slot coming to the line of scrimmage, all of a sudden the man that he read is no longer the end man on the line of scrimmage. There's a new defender there. And to me, this is one reason Kansas State had exceptional success slowing down the zone read.
Well, Auburn was able to make some adjustments, obviously, in this game. They were able to do some things that took advantage of this. We're going to take a look at a couple of those plays. Let's start off with a couple of passing plays from Nick Marshall where Auburn was able to have some success.
Matt, first thing we're going to take a look at is the touchdown to Ricardo Lewis. And this is a byproduct of how Kansas State was having success stopping the zone read against Auburn. What you're going to see here is really your defensive end normally that Nick Marshall is going to read on the zone read is going to be Muir right here, 44. But what's going to happen is, and this happened over the course of the game and happened in both directions, it happened with a lot of different players, is he's going to play flat down the line of scrimmage. So basically he's taking away the run play. Now, this would have been a play action, so he would have actually been reading this end man on the line of scrimmage. But being a byproduct of what they used to stop the play, going to play action here is what has an effect on this play, really and truly. So the end man line of scrimmage is going to slant down. This is your replacing defender to the end man on the line of scrimmage. Obviously takes him out of coverage against Ricardo Lewis. You're going quarters on the back end, so you have 4 deep safeties for the most part. That's going to leave Nick Marshall room to complete this pass. Play action there, a lot of space, good time by the offensive line. And Ricardo Lewis does make a lot happen on his own on this play. Let's not get it twisted. It's a nice play by that young man, but we'll see the wide angle here. Just as the ball is snapped, defensive end crash, replacing defensive player, and look at your 4 safeties playing deep off here. So to be able to come up and make a play right away is going to be very difficult on that safety. And then, of course, you have the play action to go with that. You'll see on the other side, if the zone read would have been this way, and this is a defensive end that you're going to read, he's still coming flat, linebacker scraping over the top. So that gives you an idea of how Kansas State was playing the zone read, having success against the zone read, bottling up the middle of the defense, forcing a new defender to the outside that Nick Marshall did not read before the play. However, this being a play action, really a nice route by Ricardo Lewis. Good patience by Nick Marshall in the pocket. Delivers a strike, and then Lewis makes it happen on his own at the end of the play.
All right, well, now we're going to take a look at Nick Marshall's second touchdown pass of the game here in the fourth quarter.
Matt, really, sometimes I think as a college football coach, we hear about coaches out-coaching themselves, and things get a little bit too complicated. This is an example right here, I think, of Gus Malzahn and Rhett Lashley just saying, this guy right here is better than this guy right here. So we're going to allow you to go up and make a play. It's just going to be quick slide protection, 2-step drop, really turn and throw. And you allow Duke Williams to just go make a play. Now, that's an excellent throw by the part of Nick Marshall, but even if this ball is back a yard or two, a little bit higher, a little bit behind him, you expect him to go make that play. He's a guy that had a few drops early in the game, really came back and finished strong, over 100 yards receiving. But to me, that right there is an example of our guy's better than your guy. We know there's no opportunity for safety help over the top. Let's just let him go make a play.
All right, so big third down here at the end of the game for Auburn. Everybody knows what's coming here. Nick Marshall's got to make a play. basically to kill the clock on this game, take away any chance Kansas State might have left to win this game. What worked about this play? Why was this able to be so successful for Auburn?
Yeah, and this could easily be perceived as what we just talked about on the last play of our guy's better than your guy, let's throw it up to him. A little more complicated on this play, not exactly how things worked out that way. First off, offensive line, nice job of protecting up front. You'll see them just go slide protection across, and then Brandon Fultz, Cameron Artis-Payne are really going to do a nice job on the blitzer down here. Blitz from the top and the bottom, so 7 defenders are going to come in. You have 7 players to help pick that up, so it's one that you should pick up, especially in slide protection. Slide protection was a problem earlier in the game, though. We saw some defensive linemen notice quick protection, jump, bat some balls down. What routes were those they were having success against? That would be the slant route, the quick slant. You saw Nick Marshall try to distribute some footballs here on the slants, and they were batted down. You also saw a couple drop balls on slants. You also saw a couple catches. So easy math as a defender would tell you, I'm probably going to get the slant right here. Defender's alignment tells you he's probably expecting something inside based on his hips and the way his body is turned to the interior. This is just a nice fake. This is sluggo route, slant and go. And you really, on the back end of this picture, you're going to see the defensive back really bite on this play. But protection is there up front against the blitz. Great fake by Nick Marshall. And it's not hard to complete that pass when your receiver has 4 or 5 yards on the defender. As we take a closer look here again, there's the defender biting on the slant that had been so successful all day long. Even though some batted down at the line of scrimmage, even though some dropped, that was a play that I believe Kansas State thought Auburn was going to go to there and try to pick up 9 yards. Great play call, great execution on the part of the Auburn Tigers there to close that game out.
All right, Cole. Well, we've seen that part of Kansas State's game plan in this game obviously was they weren't going to give up the run to Auburn if they could help it. They wanted to see if Nick Marshall could beat them with his arm. How much was Nick Marshall able to do in this game on film to show future defensive coordinators that might be preparing for Auburn that, hey, they've got to respect Nick Marshall as a passer?
Yeah, man, I think there's a lot more than just this game that's on tape that Nick Marshall has shown that he can beat you with his arm. We just saw what he did on the last play of the game, 3rd and 9. Not just the throw, but the pump fake and the patience in the pocket as well. I also believe you look back at some of the drop passes. You look back at some of the breakdowns among the offensive line, the balls that were batted down on the slants. Offensive linemen have to go jam that defender. You have to make a defender who jumps right in front of you and is not protecting himself pay for going up and attacking that football. Whether you punch him in the chest, whether you put the crown of your helmet in his chin strap, or you put your head between his legs, one of the 3 things has to happen, and you make sure that defender does not want to jump in front of you again. Didn't really see that happen until very late in the game. Bottom line, Nick Marshall showed poise in the pocket. You didn't see him panic very much. Even on the fade to Duke Williams that we saw was one where he had late pressure, knew he had a chance to throw a touchdown pass there, delivered a strike. There are still some balls in the intermediate passing game that you would like to see him change his velocity on some and the accuracy be a little bit better. But at the end of the day, Nick Marshall hasn't had that opportunity that Jeremy Johnson had against Arkansas to go shotgun, sit in the pocket, and an opportunity to pick teams apart. Number one, I think when teams see Nick Marshall in the game, they're going to crowd the line of scrimmage. And I think Nick Marshall knows, and Gus Malzahn and Rhett Lashley know, he's a guy that can hurt you with his legs. We want to take advantage of that. That could change now. We saw this a little bit with San Jose State, this replacing the end man on the line of scrimmage. Now we saw Kansas State make a living on it. As we move forward, how are defenses going to play this? Because and it's something that the coaches will now watch from the box. They'll watch from up top, and they'll know early on if teams are playing it this way. If they are, I think you see Nick Marshall turn to his arm earlier in football games for the rest of the season.
All right, well, that's all we've got today from the film room. Join us later in the week where we're going to take a look at Auburn's defense from the Kansas State game and talk about what Auburn's got coming up this weekend.